Hi, ich bin Anna Olmer und heute haben wir die große Ehre, ein fantastisches Interview zu führen mit Rob Trujillo von Metallica. Wir sprechen über das neue Album 72 Seasons und sind mal gespannt, was er dazu so zu sagen hat. Ich freue mich auf jeden Fall sehr. So, hi, my name is Anna. How do you do?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much. You had a lot of stuff to do already here in Germany, right?
Yes. Yeah. Been busy. It's been a busy few weeks. We did a couple TV appearances, television appearances in Los Angeles, and then jumped on a plane and came to Berlin almost immediately. So I'm a little bit jet lagged, but I'm doing great. The people here have been wonderful, and it's been a lot of fun for me.
We have the pleasure to present your concerts end of May in Hamburg and next year in Munich.
Okay.
We're really excited about that. And to jump just right in on the album, I've listened to the album like 3 or 4 times already.
Wow.
And
That's more than myself.
And I have a feeling that I haven't had since Reload, that from 0 to crazy you go within half a second. How the heck did you guys do that?
Well, it's just kind of who we are. I think this album is important in that it was made with a real collaborative spirit, and it was also made during challenging times. You know, initially when we started to kind of get the creative process going, we were doing it from afar. We weren't in the same room. It was like, you know, you're dealing with the pandemic and all that energy, you know, again, around the world. So there was a lot of uncertainty. So to be creative at that time was a really important it was an important reaction to what was going on. And it also was very therapeutic at the same time to know that we were working towards a new album and we had a goal in mind. And to take this on was going to be a real new, fresh experience because of the circumstances. So when we actually got together at the studio, it was kind of like this refreshing moment where we could be together. And that's why I think on this album you hear really what feels like a jam, you know, some of the segues and you know, a lot that was happening between the bass and the drums and all that. You know, you really feel that on this record, because that is something that has to happen at the moments, you know, in the room. So that was pretty awesome. So there's a lot of magic I feel in this record and in these songs.
So this is your 3rd studio album with Metallica. Would you say it's the best one out of these 3?
Definitely.
And why?
Well, I feel that we've gotten better as a team, as a band. I feel that as players, you know, we've all improved. And like Kirk's playing so great on this album. And I know personally that he's been really taking a lot of time and energy into his craft in just becoming a better musician, a better guitar player. And I hear that on this record. You know, I mean, it's always going to be great, but I know how much he plays, you know, and I know how much he's been challenging himself. I feel that Lars and I have really grown as a rhythm section. I feel that the bass tones on this record are really powerful. And I've also included variation, like I play with my fingers most of the time, but actually I'm playing with a pick on some of these songs. And some of those moments are, you know, pretty cool, pretty powerful, pretty percussive. There's a lot of groove on this album, a lot of great riffs. So it's got a wide range of kind of dynamics within the music. You know, I've been saying that this music feels very cinematic to me. It's kind of, if you close your eyes and you listen to these songs, you know, there's a lot of things that you can visualize, which is always great for me. When I listen to records, I like to feel that I'm being transported to, you know, other places.
Yeah. When I listen to the album, the sound to me is really, really intense. It feels like James is standing right in front of me, screaming in my face.
Yeah.
And same as with the instruments. They're all lined in a row. No one is even one step behind. And this sound is so overwhelming. It's so intense. Is this something that you had in mind while recording, or is it something that developed during the process?
I think that it's just, us playing from the heart, and each note that we're playing was really driven by passion on this record. And I really do believe that it was important for us, as a team, as a family, as a creative, sort of ball of energy to convey that. And that's what was going to happen. And a lot of it has to do with the challenges and everything of just being able to, for any band, to create songs, create music. Music can become therapeutic. I always say it's a blessing for people to learn how to play instruments and to learn how to write songs, because it's a great release. It takes you away from the madness of the world and puts you in a place that can be very healing. And I feel that this album for us was that.
When I think of the sound, for me, it's like a little time travel to the very beginning of Metallica, because some parts are bare rawness, but I also hear a lot of joy of playing that I haven't heard a while. So is this something you rediscovered?
Yes, I feel for myself that, again, thinking in terms of the collaborative spirit of this music, and it's like a song like Inamorata. I mean, seriously, the breakdown where it's just the bass and the drums and the hi-hat. That for me was a moment, because I actually found myself with my eyes closed and I was really feeling those parts. I mean, I tracked many versions of that breakdown in different ways. And every single time I played that, my eyes were shut and I was really feeling the notes. And I can't honestly say that that's happened with all the recordings I've done with Metallica. That statement already within that song is something that is really special. And like you were saying, I feel like the instruments are in front of me. I feel like James is singing to me. I feel like, well, that's what's happening. It's like literally I'm feeling the same way. I'm playing those notes and I'm imagining that I'm, communicating with the listener, I guess you could say. Something like that. There's like the level of communication through our instruments, through these songs, that I think is more apparent and more powerful than it's kind of ever been. That's something that doesn't just happen. It really has to be sort of the magic of the experience and the performance.
How did you manage to sound it so light in its full heaviness?
Well, I think there's a place that you can go as a musician, and there's a place that you can go with your band and your musical brothers, and it's kind of like writing that magic carpet together. You're really sharing the moment, and it's just something that happens with time and experience. I feel like with Metallica, we've been challenging ourselves for so many years now. And that means, like, whether it's with an orchestra or whether it's making an album with Lou Reed or, various incredible exotic places like Antarctica. It's like all these experiences help you grow and become a better band. I mean, it just happens with time. And if you care, about your music, but you also have a great recording team. We have a really amazing recording team. Greg Fiddleman, our producer, is an extension of who we are as musicians and of the songs. and really cares. There's no phoning it in. You know, phoning it in is when you cut corners, you just, you know, you do things, we say half-ass. There's none of that. There's none of that. And that doesn't happen a lot when a band's been around for as long, you know, over 30 years and, you know, whatever, 40 years. It's, you know, a lot of times it's like, oh, I don't have any ideas. Oh, I don't feel like playing. You know, no, we do love what we do. And that's the most important thing. It's almost like we're kids again. We're teenagers again when we put on our instruments. You know, we joke around, we have fun, you know, there's a lot of passion in it. We even get mad at each other, you know, sometimes, but it's for the right reasons, you know.
Yeah, but it is what it is. And ain't it wonderful to be young?
Oh, is it wonderful to be young?
Yeah.
Well, it is. No, it's wonderful to feel like you have that youth in your, you know, in your blood, you know, that you feel creatively you can be youthful and still come up with great riffs, come up with great bass lines, still be able to jam and have those magic moments, you know. But it's also important to release any stress. And, you know, when you're sometimes with the greatest riffs, you know, well, where's that come from? Well, that comes from, you know, being chased when you were 16 years old back in the neighborhood, you know what I mean? Like, how do great riffs get written? Well, they get written from the attitude of, you know, where you're from and your influences. It doesn't always have to be safe and, you know, and glamorous. You know, sometimes, I mean, think about it. Birmingham, England has delivered some of the most insane bands and riffs ever. And, you know, no disrespect to Birmingham. I mean, Birmingham is, but it ain't Hawaii. You know what I mean? But guess what? They got the best riffs coming out of there. So it just goes to say that, you know, the edge does have to do, I feel, with your environment and how you came up and how it's delivered through your music.
Is there a song on the new album that has a special meaning to you?
Well, I can honestly say more than ever, I just feel that every song has its personality and its place. And, you know, if I listen to each song, I'm like, oh man, I love, you know, like if Darkness Had a Sun. I mean, it's just like, man, what a chorus. I love, the anthemic kind of choruses or things, you know, you can kind of tell what songs are going to resonate live. Like that song's going to be great live, you know. But, you know, Inamorata has a certain vibe to it that is very magical in a lot of ways. Just the way it opens and how it starts and how it ends is really something that takes you. You know, it's a powerful creative statement. For me, being in Metallica, it's the most powerful creative statement that I've been involved with in the band. I feel like it's a classic. You Must Burn. You Must Burn is going to be a lot of fun to play, and in the same way, it has some really great parts and some great moments. So I can find things in each song. It's hard to say which one I like the best. I mean, today, you know, I was thinking about it. Someone asked me that question. I go, I'm feeling like You Must Burn is my song today, you know, but maybe tomorrow it's, you know, a different track, you know.
The last song on the album is longer than 11 minutes, which makes it the longest Metallica song ever. Did it also took the longest time to write that one?
Well, that song, I feel that I call it the epic of the album in a lot of ways. But I also feel that it was a song that really did sort of take on its own journey, and the layers on it are very powerful but beautiful, and the dynamics and how it flows and the arrangement. You know, one of the great things about Lars and James is they're really, really very great at, amazing at arranging. I mean, you know, it's just, you know, some bands kind of can write things pretty instantaneously, and some bands cultivate and nurture, a song. And I've been in many situations to where I've been in a band where we wrote songs, 3 songs in one day, and then get together the next day and there's 3 more songs, and now you're in the studio and you're recording them, and it can only be that way because it's all about the moment. You can't cultivate those situations as much. With Metallica, it's really, I mean, of course, a song like Hardwired was written pretty quickly off the last album, but a song like, 11-minute song, like you say, yeah, it's going to take some time and some crafting. Imagine a canvas, and then you're kind of, you're penciling in and you're sketching out your masterpiece, and then all of a sudden you're shading it in, you're adding the colors, and
then comes
you're building
Bob Ross and just
and then Bob Ross comes in there and he just makes it next level, really special.
Wash the old brush.
But it I don't know. I look at that song like an art piece. It's meant to be presented this way. It can't be less than 11 minutes. It was probably 15 minutes before we finished it. So, it's a special song, and everyone seems to really be loving this song. Yeah. I had a feeling that this would happen. Yeah.
I guess that one's quite tough to play live on stage. If you would put the set list together, would it be in the beginning, in the middle, in the end, or not at all?
Well, I mean, we're going to have to play that song for sure. We got to learn it first, but no, that to me is a song that can have its place anywhere. I mean, maybe there's something to be said, if this song was an opener, maybe it's the song that closes the show. It will resonate wherever it sits in the set. That's just my opinion. Someone else may say, oh, no, it has to be in the middle, but I just think it's such a great song that it's going to be a crowd pleaser. People are going to want to hear it wherever it sits. But maybe it's not going to be good if it sits in between the sort of early and the, I can hear it at the end, as a powerful closing statement.
I've been to several Metallica shows in the past 20 years, like 10 or something. And every time I see you playing bass on stage, I'm so worried about your knees.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a specific training you need for this Rob Trujillo sports show?
It's funny because my wife, Chloe, she calls me chicken legs. And sometimes I'll show her like my calf and I'll go, that's no chicken leg. And she'll go, yeah, Robert, but what about your thighs? They're as big as your arms. Yeah, we joke around about this all the time. For me, my best sort of training is really going outside on a field and, running drills and doing things like this, or going hiking. That's the best thing for me because I like to be outdoors and kind of getting natural air and stuff like that. But, as we get older, we have to listen to our bodies and understand that, you can't go drinking till 5 in the morning, things like that. So, getting into a tour like this with this new record, we have to be stretching out and eating right and all these things come into play. So it's very important to have a successful tour and taking care of yourselves as best as you can because, we're not 25 anymore to where you could drink 10 beers and go up on stage and just, do backflips into the mosh pits.
So hard.
Yeah. I do love mosh pits, though. Occasionally I get into one. You might see me.
4 years ago, you played a show in Munich and in Cologne. You had some local songs to be played live on stage, like Viva Colonia and Skandal im Sperrbezirk.
Oh, yeah.
Are you
Robbie Dusche.
Yeah.
Robbie Dusche.
Are you planning something to do like this in the Hamburg show in 6 weeks?
Let me just say this. That was one of the most rewarding experiences in my whole life. And same with Kirk, because we learned so much about the different countries and the different cities, and we found out who is the David Bowie of Moscow and who is the John Lennon of of Warsaw, and playing Johnny Halliday's song in Stade de France to 85,000 people, and it became a thing for us because we were surprising the audience. We weren't playing metal bands. We were playing, kind of deeper songs that maybe weren't expected of us. And then for me, challenging myself by learning the language and singing in the language of that country was a huge challenge. And it got to the point where we were so obsessed and committed to this. I was going to Kirk's house in Hawaii to go over the songs with him. Like, we were just like, oh. And in Estonia and all these places. It was a very huge challenge. And right now, our huge challenge is literally learning the new songs and being able to focus on that. So it's not likely that we're going to be playing any Spider Murphy songs this time. Or, I know a lot of people were expecting us to play Luftballons, but, not going to happen this time, but maybe in the future.
So one last question, and that one's quite intimate, but I'll give it a try. What's the secret behind your beautiful hair?
Wow, yeah, thank you. I don't know. I mean, I tell you, our family, we all have hair, and I guess that's a blessing, but it's also a curse if you have, the drains of your shower and your sinks. They get clogged with long hair. So the bills to the plumber, from the plumber, are pretty massive, and we got to deal with it. But I don't know, it's just, it's in the genes, I guess. My dad was, Native American, part Native American, so we have a lot of hair maybe coming from that side of the family. I don't know. That's a good question. But my wife, her hair is down to her feet almost. Well, so yeah, Chloe's hair is pretty long, I must say. So
no special conditioners or anything.
A little bit of beer in there and some Jägermeister, and yeah, those are the key ingredients to fresh hair: beer and Jäger.
So with this important facts, we're closing this beautiful interview. Thank you so much, Rob. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.